Welcome. We're doing our Monday roundup, but we'll be back on Friday. Lalit, Douglas Christian, it is a pleasure for us to do this.
Thank you for being here once again. So tell me about the most important thing that's happening here. I think the race to the White House has already begun. Elections are around 2 years away from us, right?
Right.
What's happening and what did happen? Why did you say that?
Well, we're seeing declared candidates already. And of course, right across the river, we saw the CPAC, or the Conservative Political Action Conference over at the Gaylord Center, which you and I have both covered in years past. And we saw just the former guy go on a 2-hour rant, which I've seen him do before, just with a string of lies, just one lie right after another. So many that it's almost difficult to keep up with them. But the crazy thing to me, from where I sit, is that every lie is almost ridiculous in itself. And yet it's piled on top of another lie. It's like a big cake. I came away with the question because the former guy beat Hillary Clinton in 2016 with just ridiculous lies.
Let's make it clear. We are talking about former President Donald Trump.
Yes. And he was able to do this by basically making it crazy versus sane. Whereas Hillary Clinton put forward just policy initiatives, you could agree or disagree with those policies. It was kind of boring policy initiatives, whereas Donald Trump came forward with grievance politics, just a one lie after another, and he won. And nowadays, today, in 2023, as we're entering into the 2024 election, the question remains, is it better politically to be a crazy person in a sane world or a sane person in a nutty world?
Look, but as far as winning is concerned, the straw polls in the CPAC over the weekend indicated that he has got more than 60% of the supporters, right?
That's correct.
And the DeSantis, who hasn't announced yet, the governor from Florida, is far behind with 20%. The two other candidates, who are the Indian Americans, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, and another one, Vivek Ramaswamy, the venture capitalists or the entrepreneurs, they are not in the government.
Less than 1%.
Yes.
Just tiny little bits.
So what does it indicate about the Republican Party and the supporters?
Two things. One is that Donald Trump has by far the largest block of would-be voters in the primaries, which indicates, I mean, he only needs about 30%
right
to actually lock in that win. And it also indicates to me, based on the former question I was asked, whether it's better to be insane in a sane world or sane in an insane world. And I think Trump is proving that it's better to be insane. It's better to just spout out lies. He said to the misfits at CPAC, he said, "I am your retribution." I mean, what does that mean? Does that mean that he is going to go even deeper into grievance politics? Does this mean that he is, I mean, what? There's no policy on any of this. It's all based on emotions, feelings.
But he has gained support.
Yes, he has.
Democracy, what at the end of the day matters.
And meanwhile, I have talked to people here at the White House who are frustrated because they think that President Biden is concentrating on policy initiatives such as infrastructure and all this. And I'm thinking to myself, from where I sit, isn't that what government is supposed to do? Is make the trains run? Is make the roads run? I mean, isn't that what, in essence, government is supposed to do? Is make a functioning society? It seems that we have a messaging problem in the United States about what is effective politics.
I guess the main opposition party, which is the Republican Party, the leaders there are still struggling to find out who is going to be their nominee or the candidate in 2024 presidential election. As of now, former President Trump is leading, but the other voices as well. While Mike Pence and Mike Pompeo haven't announced it, but they are believed to be announcing soon.
They are, but they're not nearly as charismatic as former President Trump is in front of the camera. Trump has had years of practice of how to communicate with the camera. He's very good at that. He's got extraordinary powers in that, even though he says crazy things. For instance, saying, I'm a very stable genius. I mean, who says that? I mean, the only person I can think of said that is somebody who is quite the opposite from that. But it works among a certain...
But tell me, do you think that in 2024, President Trump would be the nominee of the Republican Party?
Yes, I absolutely do believe that.
If that happens, and if President Biden announces his re-election campaign, that will be the election of two contrasts, right?
That's correct.
One pole, both are the different poles of each other, right?
That's correct. That's correct.
Now next question is, what's happening within the Democratic Party, right? Is President Biden going to announce his elections? Is going to run for 2024? If yes, when?
Yes, I don't know when. Most importantly, I wouldn't say most importantly, but importantly, the leader of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, Pramila Jayapal, announced her support for President Biden. This is a big deal because President Biden has always run on the moderate track. He has never tried to be just a Democrat or just a Republican. He's really tried to embrace both sides. And so to get Pramila Jayapal, what that's also saying is anybody to the left of him, such as Bernie Sanders, who ran and divided the Democratic Party, that's not going to happen.
So it means he's getting a support from the progressives, right?
Yes, and he's already got supports from the moderates. This is one thing I don't understand about politics in D.C. If you've already got support from a certain group, why do you have to double down on that? Why not reach out and add to your support from another end?
Do you have any idea when he's going to announce his candidacy?
I do not know. I really don't. But there are whispers. I mean, we already have heard Dr. Jill Biden said, oh yes, he's going to run. I believe that he's looking for an opportune moment that springboards his candidacy. I don't know what that is, but their messaging team is getting better at this.
So it's only a matter of time, as per Doug, that President Biden is going to announce his elections.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
Okay. Let's do away with the politics now. What's happening on the foreign policy front?
Well, right now, of course, we still have the war in Ukraine, which is a huge, huge deal. It is causing a hunger crisis across the world, especially in Africa and Ethiopia. It's also ravishing the economies, not just of Russia, but also of a host of other countries. The United States just this week pledged another $400 million in support. Sans, without F-16 fighters, President Biden has made it very clear he does not want to get into a direct conflict with Russia, although that is exactly what we're doing, is fighting Russia vicariously by supporting Ukraine the way we are and supplying Abrams tanks, etc.
How long this war do you think is going to take?
It could last a long time, and that's a big problem, because as this war continues, public support for it could diminish. We've already seen questions asked in Congress on both parties that enough is enough already. And former President Trump said at CPAC, I alone can prevent World War III. What does that mean? Does that mean that he's going to give Putin everything he wants? That's what he appeared to do in the past. Is that what that means? And does that mean that the MAGA wing of the Republican Party is making it clear that they will double down on their support for Vladimir Putin?
looks like today you are very upset with President Trump.
You know, covering him, here's the deal. You always had to be truthful. With the string of lies, always had to look at this and say, look, it doesn't matter whether I feel a certain way or I don't feel a certain way. The question is, what is? And answer those questions of what is or isn't. And in the end, that's the only thing that journalists can tie themselves to, is the truth. And so with former President Trump, when he just does what he always does, was just revert into lies, I don't know what else you could do about it. We can just be silent and we can be standard, or we can say, this is what's happening.
If you got a chance to tell him something or sentiment message, right? So this YouTube channel, what would be that?
You know, I don't know if I would tell him. I've already said what I believe about his lies. I don't think that lies in the end are as effective as he thinks they are. They did catapult him to the presidency. But I would ask him, what is your purpose? What is the reason that you're doing this? Is it just about you? Is that all that matters? Or are you concerned about the legacy that you lead? I guess that would be my question.
Great. I think we should leave it to the people of this country who have elected leaders again and again, and they elected the leaders who have made this country the world superpower. I hope they will take again another intelligent decision in 2024. With this, that's all for today. We'll come back here again on Friday.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.